Today in r/malicious compliance. You really sure you don't want help? I was reminded of this story listening to a different car towing subreddit story. This happened about 8 years ago. My niece had driven to class downtown and parked in an attached garage. She was in her dad's car, a limited edition Expedition. And if you've seen an Expedition, you know this thing is freaking mammoth. So, not a small car. When she was done with class, the car wouldn't turn over, so she called her dad, my brother, to find out what to do. Since he was at work, he asked if I was available, and I headed over to pick her up and facilitate a tow truck to take it to a garage. When I arrived, I found my niece, and we walked to the car and discovered that the garage was pretty low and probably wouldn't let a tow truck into the space. We were a bit concerned, but we're not scared of a little extra exertion and decided we'd help the driver push the car out of the garage. A car that big would need at least 3 pushing it no matter what you did. So we called a truck and waited probably about 20 minutes for it to arrive. When the truck got there, we introduced ourselves to the driver. He wasn't much taller than me and 5'4", and while scrappy and strong, still a small dude. We told him where the car was parked, walked him to the car, and realized there was no way that flat truck was getting in that garage. Now, I'm a big woman but very active and strong, and my niece is not one to be trifled with. We both were in martial arts classes and working out, so we offered to help him extract the vehicle from the space, stating it would be no problem. He needed the help, but, I suppose, in an effort to be chivalrous, he stated that he could do it himself. We said we didn't mind helping, and since we've actually had to move this car once or twice before, we're more than ready to help. You ladies just sit back, I'll have this done in no time. Famous last words. The car I had driven was a little ways from the entrance to the garage, and my niece and I walked back to the car and chatted as we leaned up against the car while he began to move this 2-ton truck from its space. About 15 minutes passed, and we both thought we should check on him. He had barely gotten the thing out of the space and was trying to turn it around so it would be facing toward the garage exit. We approached the vehicle and said, "We can help you out, you know." And he said, "No, I can do this." We said, "Okay," and since we didn't have to be anywhere anytime soon, we went back to the car and started chatting again. As we turned to go back to the car, we both smirked at each other, knowing he was on some sort of macro power trip, and with our help, we could have been out in 15 minutes flat and on the truck. But no, me strong man. Me can do all the things, grrr, while he pounds his chest. Another 15 minutes, and he's almost at the exit. We come in again and offer our help. And no, I'm almost there. I got this. Oak. At this point, my niece and I are just trying to keep from laughing. I mean, come on, dude. Is it really worth all that stress and strain? So another 10 minutes or so pass, and he's huffing and puffing and sweating through his uniform, and he finally gets it out of the garage. Another 10 minutes he starts strapping it up, and in the next 5, the car is on the flat. It took him just about an hour to do something that would have taken the 3 of us 15 minutes tops. You can't say we didn't offer. At this point, the driver starts to get a little testy. I mean, I kinda don't blame him. He got his entire week's worth of a workout pushing that thing out of the garage, and while not scorching hot, it was pretty warm outside. So he started to get a bit of an attitude. I'm like, "Hey, dude, don't start with us. We offered." So next we call my brother and ask him where he wants the truck dropped off. We get the information to the driver and we re-off. While we re-driving behind the truck, we get a call from my brother and he decides he wants it taken to the house. Mid-transit. While annoying, all we had to do was call the towing company to have them radio the driver to inform him there was a change in venue. We were still a few miles out, so we didn't think this would be a problem. Since we were behind him, we could see him answer his phone hands-free and start screaming at the phone. All of a sudden, the truck pulls over off the highway very suddenly, and we pull off behind him. He slams his door and angrily walks back to our car and starts very aggressively cussing us out because we changed the route. Now, both my niece and I have grown up in a very large, very male-dominated family. Suffice it to say, most males don't faze us like they'd like to think they do. I can't remember the conversation here, but it was something akin to him cussing us out very aggressively as if he was gonna reach in and clock one of us, and we basically telling him, look, we got the call on the way and the plans changed. What the hell are you mad at? You getting paid. We're not screwing you over. Get back in your truck and finish the job, and you won't have to be bothered with us anymore. That totally wasn't it, but that's what was going on in my brain. By the time he got back into the truck, my niece and I were heated. He was on some Mako power trip, and he's pissed because he didn't have the wherewithal to allow 2 women to help him with his job. Boo-hoo. Buddy GTFO. We had called ahead to the house to let my family know that we were coming with the car, and that the driver had been very aggressive towards us and cussing us out once we rerouted the truck. Thankfully, my nephew, a very sweet, big, imposing teddy bear of a guy, was home, and we made it clear that he needed to be present when we pulled up so this guy wouldn't try anything. He was that aggressive. My niece and I could take care of ourselves, but there's nothing wrong with a little backup. When we pulled up to the house, the truck had to position itself to get the car down as safely as possible. My niece and I parked, got out of the car, and went in the house and sent him out. Just to give you a physical lowdown of my nephew, he's easily 6'6", 350, birded and built like a brick wall. He came out when the guy got out of the truck. My niece and I hung back while he saw this big-ass man lumbering towards him. My nephew says to him, "Do we have a problem here?" The driver looked at him, wide, and said, No problem. Good, my nephew said, and came back in the house. I had to sign off on the car, and the driver couldn't even make eye contact with me while he slunk back into his truck and drove off. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the bell, and whatever else our YouTube overlords require nowadays.